I'm Whitney Morgan, Hashimoto's coach, gluten-free warrior, and creator of the Thyroid Reboot Method and the Gluten Gauntlet mini course. Most people who get diagnosed with gluten sensitivity or celiac disease think that all they need to do is go gluten-free and that's the end of it, right? That is the quote-unquote treatment for celiac disease and gluten sensitivity. Just eliminate gluten from your life and all things go back to normal, right? That is not my experience. Having worked with many women with gluten issues, I can tell you from experience that years of gluten exposure leaves behind a significant amount of damage that needs to be repaired. And the way I explain it is like this. So let's say your house is burning down. What's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to put out the fire, right? That's what going gluten-free is. It's putting out the fire. But once that's done, you're left with a lot of damage. And now you have to get to work assessing the damage and repairing it. So in today's video, I want to talk about the 4 areas of investigation that I think are really important for people to do after they've been diagnosed. But before we jump into it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to it so you'll get notified every time I post a new video. All right, so I said there are 4 areas. The first area is additional food sensitivities. The reason why we have to look at additional food sensitivities is because there are other foods that don't contain gluten that actually look a lot like gluten to your immune system. It's called cross-reactivity. This is what happens. When your immune system is highly reactive to gluten, and then it encounters some of these other foods that look like gluten, but they're not gluten, it can make a mistake. Right? And so foods like corn and dairy and rice, these have cross-reactive properties with gluten. So it's possible that you can be on a gluten-free diet for months and really not get the results that you were expecting, all because you've developed a cross-reactivity to something like corn or cow dairy. And every time you consume that food, your immune system is freaking out about it. It's behaving as if you are still eating gluten. And there are a series of labs that I run on my clients to rule out these cross-reactive sensitivities. So that's the first thing that's important. The second thing is to assess gut integrity, meaning how much gut damage is there, right? Now, gluten causes a leaky gut in everybody. You don't have to be gluten sensitive to get a leaky gut from gluten. I've talked about this before in previous videos. But those of us who are gluten sensitive are particularly vulnerable to having a chronic leaky gut due to years of gluten exposure. So you'll need to get a proper assessment of your gut integrity so that you can repair the damage that's there. The third area to investigate is what is living inside your gut. Years of gluten exposure leads to years of chronic inflammation, which creates the perfect environment for gut infections to take hold and to thrive. So things like parasites and bacterial dysbiosis and yeast overgrowth. You need a good assessment of what's living in your gut so that you can implement the right strategy to restore gut health. The fourth area to investigate is thyroid function. The reason? Because most people who have celiac disease or gluten sensitivity wind up with some level of thyroid dysfunction, whether it's Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism. So getting a comprehensive thyroid panel is essential. Now, just in case you're thinking to yourself, well, that sounds great, Whitney, but what tests are you talking about and where do I find them? Well, most of the tests that I'm talking about are specialized functional lab tests, and they're usually not available from your average doc. So I will leave a list of those tests in the video notes with links to the website. When it comes to evaluating your thyroid, I recommend you ask your doctor for the most comprehensive thyroid panel they can order. Usually this means making sure they check TSH, free T4, free T3, reverse T3, and thyroid antibodies, both TPO antibodies and thyroglobulin antibodies. If you can't get your primary doctor to order a thyroid lab that covers all the markers that I just listed, there are ways that you can order thyroid labs on your own. I mean, there are labs out there where you can just pay for it yourself. However, I really think you should be working with a functional practitioner. You're going to need someone who has access to the other specialized labs that I talked about, and they can at the same time order a comprehensive thyroid panel and help you kind of put all the data together and get a good picture of what's going on, what damage has gluten left behind after you put out that fire, and what's the best strategy for you to repair it and to restore your health. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, you can let me know. You can like it, subscribe to my channel, or share this video with someone who has gluten sensitivity or celiac disease. And as always, if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments. I do my best to answer each one. Thanks again. I'll see you next time. Bye.